The breaking point. Captain Elara Reed stared out from the bridge of the EF's Intrepid, Earth's flagship vessel, as it approached the massive structure known as Harmony Station. The gleaming construct floated in orbit around a neutral star, its metallic arms extended like a welcoming embrace. Appearances, as humans had learned over the past century, could be deceiving. Incoming transmission from Harmony Control, Lieutenant Chen announced, his fingers dancing over the holographic interface. Reed nodded. Put it through. A melodious voice, artificially modulated to sound pleasing to all species, filled the bridge. ES Intrepid, you are cleared for docking at Bay Epsilon 17. The Confederation Council awaits Earth's delegation. Acknowledged, Harmony Control. Beginning docking procedures. As the Intrepid glided toward its designated bay, Reed could not shake the feeling of unease that had been growing since receiving their orders. For 15 years, she had served as both a military officer and diplomatic escort. She had watched Earth bend over backward to accommodate the Confederation's endless demands, had witnessed her people's technological innovations harvested while receiving little in return. Today felt different. Today, Earth's patience had reached its limit. Captain, her XO, Commander Jackson, approached with a data tablet. Final briefing from Admiral Catry. Our instructions remain unchanged. Reed reviewed the orders, her expression hardening. So we're really doing this? Yes, ma'am. Earth Prime has had enough. The Intrepid docked with a gentle shudder. Reed straightened her midnight blue uniform, the silver Earth insignia catching the light as she moved toward the airlock. Behind her, a team of 12. A mix of military personnel and civilian diplomats, assembled in formation. Remember, she said, addressing them all, maintain full composure, regardless of what happens in there. Today is not about emotion. It's about resolve. Ambassador Wei, a dignified woman in her 60s who had devoted her life to interspecies diplomacy, stepped forward. Captain Reed, I've attended over 200 Confederation Council sessions. This will be unlike any other. That's precisely why I'm here, Ambassador, Reed replied. Earth doesn't expect a civil response to our announcement. The delegation moved through Harmony Station's soaring corridors. Around them, representatives of the Confederation's 27 member species hurried about their business. Some nodded in acknowledgement. Others pretended not to notice the humans at all. The council chamber was a vast amphitheater designed to intimidate. In the center stood the petitioner's circle, where representatives would stand exposed while addressing the raised tiers of council members. The Versilian High Speaker, a towering insectoid with iridescent carapace, presided from the highest point. The delegation from Earth may approach. The High Speaker's translator device boomed. Ambassador Wei moved forward, flanked by Captain Reed and 2 junior diplomats. Wei's expression remained impassive, but Reed could see the tension in her shoulders. Esteemed members of the Confederation, Wei began, her voice steady. For 118 years, Earth has participated in this grand experiment of interspecies cooperation. We have contributed our technologies, our resources, and our military strength to protect common interests. Murmurs rippled through the chamber. Wei continued without pause. Yesterday, the Confederation Trade Commission approved Resolution 490B, imposing a 60% resource tax on all human colonial operations in the Centauri sector. The Draken representative, a gelatinous being whose translucent body pulsed with bioluminescent patterns, spoke without being recognized. The resources of Centauri benefit all Confederation members. Earth's colonies have extracted disproportionate wealth. Earth's colonies, Wei countered, were established through human innovation, human risk, and human lives. The terraforming technology that made those worlds habitable was developed by Earth scientists. Technology shared under Confederation accords, the Versilian High Speaker interjected. Shared, Captain Reed said, stepping forward. Yet somehow, when Hresik mining drones use our atmospheric processors, no taxation is applied. The chamber erupted in protest. The High Speaker's mandibles clicked rapidly, a sign of agitation. "The human delegation will observe protocol," the translator warned. Ambassador Wei raised a hand to quiet Reed, then continued. "Earth has reviewed Resolution 490B, along with the 17 similar resolutions passed in the last decade. We have come to a conclusion." She paused, and in that moment, Reed could feel the atmosphere shift. The alien representatives sensed what was coming. As of 800 hours Earth Standard Time, Terra Prime has formally withdrawn from all Confederation treaties, accords, and mutual defense agreements. Pandemonium erupted. The Draken representative's body flashed violent crimson. The Ketvak military attaché rose to his full 3-meter height, bony crests flaring in alarm. "Order!" The High Speaker's amplified voice cut through the chaos. "Ambassador Wei, surely this is a negotiating tactic. Earth cannot simply withdraw." Wei's expression remained serene. "It is not a tactic, High Speaker. It is a decision, ratified by all 196 Earth nations and our 37 colonial parliaments. The Confederation has consistently demonstrated that it views humans not as partners, but as resources to be exploited." Captain Reed stepped forward again, this time with deliberate authority. "All human ships have been recalled from joint patrols. Our technology sharing programs terminate effective immediately. Earth's defense grid has been activated around all our territories." This is madness. The Talaxian Commerce Minister's tentacles writhed in agitation. The Confederation cannot function without human military support. The Outer Rim will collapse into piracy within weeks. "Perhaps," Wei replied, "the Confederation should have considered that before systematically undermining our position for decades." Reed watched as realization dawned across alien faces. This was not a bluff. This was not another human emotional outburst to be weathered until they calmed down and accepted their place. This was Earth, finally, standing up. "The human delegation will remain at Harmony Station for 24 hours to assist any of our citizens wishing to return to Earth space," Wei concluded. "After that, we will depart. Earth remains open to bilateral agreements with individual species, but we will no longer subject ourselves to Confederation authority." As they turned to leave, the Versilian High Speaker's translator struggled to keep up with his rapid clicking. "If Earth withdraws protection from the trade routes, you leave us defenseless. The consequences..." "The consequences," Reed interrupted, looking back over her shoulder, "are yours to bear, High Speaker. Humanity offered partnership. You chose exploitation. Now you can experience what the galaxy looks like without us." Back aboard the Intrepid, Reed watched through the viewscreen as the station grew smaller. Around Harmony, dozens of human vessels were already disconnecting from docking bays, breaking formation with alien ships, and preparing for FTL jumps back to Earth space. "Admiral Katri is on secure channel," Lieutenant Chen reported. Reed accepted the call in her ready room. The Admiral's weathered face appeared on screen, her expression grim but determined. "It's done," Reed reported. "The Confederation is in chaos." "As expected," Chatry nodded. "Phase 2 begins tomorrow. All human outposts are securing their perimeters. The defense grid is at 97% operational status." "Will they attack?" Reed asked. "Unlikely. They've grown too dependent on us. But prepare for desperate diplomacy. Once the first shipping lanes fall to pirates, they'll be offering us everything we've ever asked for." Reed leaned back in her chair. "And then we negotiate from strength, Captain. For the first time in a century, humanity dictates terms." As the Intrepid jumped to FTL, the first distress calls were already echoing across Confederation channels. A Ketvak freighter, ambushed by raiders. A Talaxian research station, its defense systems failing. The tremors were beginning. The earthquake would follow. In her quarters, Reed reviewed reports streaming in from across the galaxy. Human ships withdrawing from joint missions. Technology transfers halting mid-process. Defense protocols activating around Earth colonies. A century of being taken for granted was ending. The galaxy was about to learn what happens when humanity's patience runs out. The Reckoning. 3 months after Earth's withdrawal, Captain Ilara Reed stood on the observation deck of Titan Base, watching as technicians installed the final component of humanity's new planetary defense system. The massive ring-shaped structure hovering above Earth's moon represented everything the Confederation had feared. Humans innovating without oversight. Magnificent, isn't it? Admiral Catri's voice came from behind her. Reed turned to find the Admiral gazing at the installation with undisguised pride. The Aegis Shield. 3 months from concept to implementation. The alien engineers said it would take years. They said that because they wanted access to the technology. Reed replied, "How's it performing?" "Beyond expectations. Early tests show it can deflect 99% of known weapons technologies, including Versilian phase cannons." A junior officer approached with a data tablet. "Admiral, Captain, we're receiving an unusual transmission. A diplomatic vessel is approaching Earth space under a flag of truce. Non-Confederation registry." Catri's eyebrows rose. "Interesting. Who's aboard?" "A delegation led by someone named Xarvesh. Claims to represent a coalition of independent worlds." "The Free Systems Alliance," Reed said, recognizing the name. "They've stayed neutral in Confederation politics for decades." "Let them approach," Catri decided. "Have the Intrepid escort them in." "Captain Reed, I want you to handle this personally." 2 hours later, Reed stood in Titan Base's diplomatic reception chamber as the airlock cycled open. The beam that stepped through defied easy classification. Xarvesh stood on 4 lower limbs, while 2 upper limbs served as arms. Their skin shimmered with a metallic iridescence, and compound eyes caught the light as they surveyed the room. "Captain Reed." Xarvesh's voice was melodious, their translator capturing nuances most Confederation devices missed. "I appreciate your willingness to receive us." Reed nodded. "Earth remains open to dialogue with those who approach as equals. A rare perspective in this galaxy." Xarvesh replied. "May I speak frankly?" "Please do." "The Confederation is collapsing. Without human military patrols, piracy has increased 700%. 3 major trade hubs have been abandoned. The Draken and Ketvak are now openly hostile toward each other, blaming one another for driving humans away." Reed kept her expression neutral, though inwardly she felt a grim satisfaction. "That sounds like a Confederation problem." "It has become everyone's problem," Xarvesh countered. "The Free Systems Alliance has maintained independence through careful diplomacy and limited military deterrence. Now we find ourselves caught in the crossfire of a disintegrating galactic order." They approached a viewport, gazing out at the Aegis Shield installation. "Impressive technology. Our scientists theorize such defenses might be possible, but the engineering challenges seemed insurmountable." "Humans excel when challenged," Reed said simply. "Indeed. That is why we are here." Xarvesh turned back to face her. "The Alliance proposes a mutual defense and trade agreement with Earth. Direct, bilateral, without Confederation oversight or interference." Reed studied the alien diplomat. "Interesting. Just 3 months ago, such an arrangement would have violated Confederation Charter. The Confederation Charter means little now. 4 member species have already formally withdrawn. More will follow." Xarvesh's upper limbs made a gesture Reed's neural translator identified as resignation. "We are witnessing the end of an era, Captain." In the main conference room, Admiral Catri reviewed the Alliance proposal while Reed and Xarvesh waited. The Admiral's face revealed nothing as she scrolled through the terms. "This is comprehensive," she finally said. "Equal technology exchange. Fair trade terms. Mutual defense without subordination of either party's military authority. The Alliance has observed Earth for decades," Xarvesh explained. "We recognized that the Confederation's treatment of your species was unsustainable. Humans offer too much value to be treated as junior partners." "Yet you said nothing when the Confederation exploited us," Reed pointed out. A regrettable calculation, the alien diplomat admitted. We were not strong enough to challenge the Confederation directly. Now circumstances have changed. A tactical officer entered the room, approaching Reed with urgent steps. Captain, we're receiving multiple distress calls from the Proxima Centauri system. A Versilian battle group has engaged HFY forces near our colonial perimeter. Civilian transports are caught in the crossfire. Reed exchanged glances with Katri. They're fighting on our doorstep. Perhaps deliberately, Sarvesh suggested, to force your intervention. Katri's expression hardened. Captain Reed, deploy the Intrepid and Battle Group Sigma. Humanitarian mission only. Evacuate civilian vessels, regardless of species. Engage any forces that directly threaten our ships, but do not take sides in their conflict. Yes, Admiral. Reed stood, then turned to Sarvesh. It seems our discussions will have to wait. Perhaps I could observe your response, the diplomat suggested. It would help my people understand how Earth handles such crises now that you stand independent. Katri considered this, then nodded. Join Captain Reed aboard the Intrepid. See firsthand how humans operate when free from Confederation constraints. Aboard the Intrepid, Reed directed Battle Group Sigma into formation as they approached the conflict zone. The tactical display showed the chaos. Versilian cruisers firing on HFY destroyers, with civilian transports caught between them. This is madness, Commander Jackson muttered. They're supposed to be allies. Without humans mediating their ancient grievances, old hatreds resurface, Sarvesh observed from the bridge's diplomatic observer station. The Confederation maintained peace through human military presence, more than any shared ideals. All ships, this is Captain Reed. She transmitted to her battle group. Our mission is civilian rescue only. Establish a clear corridor for transports to escape. Any vessel firing on civilians is to be disabled, regardless of species. The Earth vessels moved with precision, their advanced shield technology allowing them to position between the warring parties. Tractor beams locked onto damaged civilian ships, pulling them to safety. Versilian cruiser locking weapons on Transport 17, Lieutenant Chen reported. Interpose and warn them off, Reed ordered. They're maintaining weapons lock. Disable their targeting arrays. Precision strike only. The Intrepid's newly developed pulse cannons fired, the energy beams striking with surgical precision. The Versilian ship's weapon systems went dark, though life support and engines remained functional. HFY destroyer approaching at attack velocity. Another officer called. Same protocol. Reed commanded. Disable weapons only. Within 30 minutes, Battle Group Sigma had neutralized the immediate threat to civilians. 7 warships, 4 Versilian and 3 HFY, had been disabled without destruction. 29 civilian vessels were now under Earth protection. Open a channel to both fleet commanders, Reed ordered. The view screen split to show 2 alien faces, the Versilian admiral's mandibles twitching with barely contained rage. The HFY commander's bony crest flared in defensive posture. This is Captain Ilara Reed of Earth Forces. You have endangered civilian lives in what appears to be a deliberate provocation in Earth-controlled space. Your weapons have been disabled as a precautionary measure. You have no authority. The Versilian began. I have every authority in Earth space. Reed cut him off. Your disabled ships will be towed to neutral territory. The civilians you endangered will be given sanctuary if they request it. The Confederation Council will hear of this interference. The HFY threatened. Reed allowed herself a small smile. I'm certain they will. They should also hear this. Earth will defend its borders and innocent lives, regardless of species. We will not be drawn into your conflicts, nor will we permit them to endanger our citizens or operations. She terminated the transmission and turned to find Sarvesh studying her with what the translator suggested was admiration. Impressive, the diplomat said. You disabled their ships without destroying them, protected civilians without taking sides, and established clear boundaries. This is how a major power acts. This is how Earth has always wanted to act. Reed replied. We were simply never permitted to do so under Confederation constraints. Back at Titan Base 3 days later, Admiral Katri formally received the Alliance delegation. HFY presented an expanded proposal, now supported by 15 independent systems. The galaxy is realigning, the alien diplomat explained. Word of how Earth handled the Proxima incident has spread. Your commitment to protecting civilians while maintaining neutrality has impressed many who feared human withdrawal would mean isolation or aggression. Katri reviewed the new terms. This proposes a mutual defense council with equal representation, technology exchange without appropriation, and open trade without punitive tariffs. The framework for a new order, HFY confirmed, one where Earth is recognized as the power it truly is. Captain Reed, standing at attention beside the Admiral, felt a weight lifting, the frustration of decades of diplomatic subordination giving way to a new reality. And the Confederation? Katri asked. 8 more species have announced their intention to withdraw, HFY replied. The Versilians and Drakons still control the Council, but their influence diminishes daily. The High Speaker has requested direct talks with Earth Prime. I imagine they have, Reed murmured. Katri's expression remained measured. Inform the Alliance that Earth accepts these preliminary terms. As for the Confederation, she exchanged glances with Reed. Tell the High Speaker that Earth will consider talks after they publicly repeal all punitive resolutions against human colonies. As the meeting concluded, Reed escorted HFY back to their ship. Your Admiral is a skilled negotiator, the diplomat observed. She knows the Confederation is desperate. The Confederation created this crisis, Reed replied. Now they must live with the consequences. And what of humanity? What does Earth want from this new galactic order? Reed paused, considering. What we've always wanted, to be treated as equals, to explore, to innovate without constraint, and to be judged by our actions rather than our biology. HFY made a gesture of understanding. Simple desires, yet somehow difficult for the Confederation to grasp. Sometimes, Reed said, watching as technicians applied Earth's new diplomatic seal to the Alliance Treaty document, the simplest truths are the hardest to accept. The galaxy needed to learn what happens when humanity's patience runs out. As HFY's ship departed, Reed returned to the Intrepid's bridge. New orders were coming in. Diplomatic missions to former Confederation worlds, now seeking bilateral agreements, security operations along trade routes Earth had decided to protect, and scientific expeditions to regions previously restricted by Confederation decree. The galaxy was changing. Earth, by stepping back, had stepped into its power, not through conquest or intimidation, but by simply refusing to be exploited any longer. Humanity had retreated from diplomacy only to find itself more influential than ever before. The stars had indeed plunged into unrest, but from that chaos, a better order was emerging. And this time, humans would help shape it as equals, not as tools to be used and discarded. Reed looked out at the stars, a small smile forming on her lips. The future was unwritten, uncertain, and for the first time in a century, truly free.